he shares his years, double digits of experience in the networking marketing field with great success. His personality is a true urchin, meaning this man does his research, and I love every bit of it. Mr. Thomas tells this story, which just kind of shows you of the urchin personality he is. He was looking and seeking for another direct sales company to join. So this man pulls out the scroll, the map, and he starts mapping out companies in the market. And after mapping, he puts a big red X on ACN saying, there lies the treasure. And the man leads us there. The man to lead us there is Mr. Al Thomas. He calls Mr. Al Thomas. Now, on the other side, with Mr. Thomas, meanwhile, Mr. Thomas is gearing up behind the ACN curtain to go on stage, and he receives a call. Mr. Thomas answers the call while he's about to go on stage. I don't get, but he answers the call, and from there, he hears from this treasure hunter. And so what I enjoy about hearing from him, he reintroduces us to not just ACN, but he highlights the industry that we're in. It gives me, I should say, I'll speak to myself, it gives me an assurance I made the right decision and an insurance to trust the system. We can do this as we reach to the next level. So thank you for spending some time with us. I put your hands together for Mr. Curtis Evans.
Hope everybody's doing well. We're going to take a few minutes here just to share some information with you. And what you do with it is going to be up to you. All righty, let's get started. My name is Curtis Evans. I'm from South Carolina. Actually, my family, my mother and father picked me up when I was two weeks old, something like that. And my dad was in the Air Force, so they hauled me all over the planet. And then finally, I got out of school years later. And I've been everywhere and under every planet under the sun by the time I got out of high school. So it was an interesting trip, just growing up and learning to meet new people. So that part I didn't have a problem with. Some people didn't get what I got growing up. So don't worry about it. We're going to teach you a little bit about how to build an organization, and hopefully you'll get something out of today's meeting. All of you have something special. Everybody on this call has something something special. And so I would not let that worry me too much. I think what I would do is try to learn, because that's all we're all doing as we grow through. We're just trying to learn. We're trying to learn. And we've been sold a bill of goods that I think unfortunate. When we were, your parents taught you all that they knew. They were looking out for your best interests. They're looking out for you wanted you to do well. They wanted you to be successful. They taught you how to walk, talk, eat. They taught you how to read and write and a lot of things. And so they were looking out for your best interest, but they only could teach you what they knew. And just keep that in mind, because they were brought up like you. They told you go out there and get a good education and get a good job. And you find that job and you stay on that job. Just don't leave that job unless you leave for a better one. And then try to retire if you can. Try to retire on that job. And one day you'll be able to get your pension if that's available, and you'll be able to live happily ever after. Now, that's good. That's great, because at a certain time back in life, that was the answer. And today, it probably still is. It's probably good to get you a really good job first. And then once you get that good job, then you want to really concentrate on getting rid of that good job. And so you do that by getting into a business like ours, a unique business, one that pays right now every week. For 30 years, they've been paying coding bonus checks every week. And for 30 years, 31 years, they've been paying a residual check once a month. Okay? So that's all settled. We're not getting into something brand new. Hope it works. Hope the owners are good. Hope the industry is good. Hope there's market share. Hope there's room to grow. Hope there's room to bring other people in so that they can grow. All that's out of the question. We've already answered that. So we found the right company. We have the right sponsors. We have the right leadership. So now it's just a matter of us. What are we going to do? Well, this is going to give you a snapshot. Now, if your parents told you what they knew and showed you what they wanted you to do, who told them what they should do? Who showed them what they should do? And that's probably their parents. And some of their parents were born and raised in some really tough conditions. I'll tell you, if you were born in the 20s and 30s, you know, we had a depression, a Great Depression, and a lot of people just didn't trust banks. They didn't really trust a lot of things. And so they taught your parents, and only your parents only could teach you what they knew, and that came from your grandparents. So I want to show you just where my parents, where they got their information from, okay? My parents got their information from their parents, which is my grandparents, and they passed it on. Now, if I did the same thing and passed that on to my children, I would be doing them a disservice. They're growing up in an age where there's going to be a lot of solar energy used. There's going to be a lot of electric cars coming through. Hybrid cars and electric cars coming through. Right now, people flying from one part of the world to another part of the world in a couple of hours. That was not something my parents ever saw. And so if I teach them the wrong thing, they're only going to grow up in an age where things just aren't going to look good for them. They're going to just not do well. So I got a little short video I'm going to show you. And it's just, and this is from South Carolina. Now you have a special state that you live in, and I'm sure this is not going to look much different than your grandparents experienced years ago. So I'm just going to show you this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it because I just want you to see what they saw growing up, okay? There is what I wanted to show you was the times that my grandfather and my grandmother lived in, okay? And I'm sure somebody somewhere has some videos of the times that your parents and their parents lived in. The future that we're into the future, we're back to the future right now. People right now, I mean, we're able to share so many things just electronically with other people. We're able to show a video, we're able to share information with other people, not only here around us, but around the world because of the internet, through texts, through emails, through video. The world has changed. And this is nothing compared to what's going to happen in the future. I really believe in the future, the question won't be if you're in network marketing. The question will be, which company are you with? There are more people working from home today than ever worked. The only work you could do from home in the old days was tie tobacco, or maybe cut some wood, or maybe do some work with animals, or maybe farm. Those are things that people did in the past. And there's nothing wrong with that. That was the time of the past. But if your parents taught you to go out and get you a good job, and stay on that job forever, you're kind of working in the past. And that's why you got that gut feel, that something gut in your that I can't seem to get ahead. And people will say that often. I cannot seem to get ahead. When you ever heard someone says, I tried hard, I did everything I was supposed to do, and I just can't seem to get ahead. And the reason that they cannot get ahead is because they're the only person on their team. I'm gonna say that again. The only person, you may be the only person on your team. So if something happens and you can't work, then guess what? Guess what? You are not going to make any money next week. And so everybody's scared, got this pressure under you that I got to perform, I got to do well. And that's what happens when you get a job and you only have 1 week in the hole. What we want to do is we want to build a different future for our families. We want to build a future where we know that on the 15th, a check is going to be here. A residual check is going to be in the mail. Not a Social Security check, that's okay. Some of you are too young to get Social Security. If everything works like people, like I think that everybody's working on, is that you're going to have to wait till you're 70 or 75 to get your Social Security. Now it's 62. But at some point, it's going to be 70 years old. It's going to be 75 years old. They're not going to get rid of the program. They're just going to have it set so that more people will be dead by the time they're supposed to get the Social Security. So that's a bad plan to be in, to be able to work for 50 years, and at the end of 50 years or 60 years or 70 years or whatever, then you have to work until you're finished. So let's take a look at ACM. We're in the business where I paid our $245, $345. I paid $500 when I got started. Actually, my wife and I, we paid around $1,000. She signed up and then I signed up with her. So I didn't think it was a bad investment. It was a really good investment because most businesses cost a whole lot to get started. It costs a lot of money to start a business. If you don't believe it, go see what a franchise costs for McDonald's. Go look at a franchise for Wendy's. Go look at what it costs to start up just a small business. It costs a lot of money. Most of them are $200,000, $300,000. If you get a small, cheap franchise, it may cost you $50,000. But $50,000 is a good place to get started, but it's a very, very inexpensive franchise. A Chick-fil-A franchise, $2 million. A McDonald's franchise, $1.3 million. This is what it costs to start a business. So most people, because they were trained to get a good job, they don't know what it costs to start a business. So when you say $324, when you say $324, they shudder. Oh my goodness, I don't have that kind of money. What we did is went and borrowed the money, stuck it in, and got started. And that's what most people do, because anybody that starts a business do not have $50,000 to start a business. They don't have $100,000 to start a business. And now remember, if you'll pay $100,000, the thing actually costs $500,000. They need $100,000 down. And in some cases, they want you to have some property so you can put your business on. Then once you got the business up, guess what you got to do? You have to get insurance, you got to get bonded, you got to get business license, you got to hire people, you got to have a cash register, you got to have a bathroom, you got to pay. It's just a lot to get a business up and running. So I'm telling you, when you pay something like $324 to start a business, that's a really good deal. Now, the good thing about it is really inexpensive to get started with a business. It's really inexpensive. The bad thing about it is that if it don't work, you can quit and go just throw your hands up in the air. If you put $1 million in a business or $2 million in a business, you're gonna stick in that business and you're gonna make it work. You're gonna make it work. I promise you, if you put $2 million, or you might not have the 2 million, you may put $100,000 down, and you may be making payments on the rest. But I promise you, if you put that much money in a business, you're gonna make it work. You're gonna make it work. You're gonna be there long hours in the morning, long hours in the afternoon. You're gonna watch who you hire. You're gonna watch your cash register. You're gonna watch and make sure there's no pilferage, nobody's stealing. You're gonna watch every aspect until you get that business paid for, which may take 20 or 30 years. But what I'm saying though is that if you only start with $324 and it don't work after the first week, you can throw it away. It's for first month, first two weeks, first 2 years, you'll throw it away because it didn't cost much to get started. So I'm telling you, you got $1 million business that you can build. If you build this business properly, sharing the business with people and showing them a way to get started, show them the value of the business. I mean, the initial month, a person can make $700, $800, $1,000, which is pretty good on the investment of $300. And then what they're going to do is work hard to help other people. If you work hard to help other people get started in the business, if you do what you're supposed to do and not pay attention to people that are maybe job oriented, if you work hard to get started in the business and you are able to get yourself promoted to the ETL level, a very, very good level, okay? That means you have not only you have an organization started, and then you work to get to the RC level, and you have a plan to help other people do real well in their businesses, which help you in your business. And then you get to the RD level and you work your way through, then you're going to be really, really happy when you get to that RD level and RVP level, okay? And then as you get to SVP, it's just the same thing, helping other people get started, those that want to get started. That's a new business model. Now, I'll tell you, the people that we showed just a minute ago, maybe your parents and maybe some of their parents, and maybe some of your brothers and sisters, and maybe some friends of yours who were trained by their parents, they may look at your business model and may not like it because it don't work. They just don't understand how something like that can work because they were trained in a different era. I mean, I say a different era. They might be young, they could have been trained today, but they're trained by somebody that had a mindset from a different era, which would be your parents. I mean, you just go back and go to the house that you were raised in, if you can. Go back to the house your mother and father was raised in, if it's still there. Go back to the house that your grandparents were raised in, if it's still there, and you'll see the era that they were born in. They taught you, and you probably have the mindset of those people. I mean, you more than likely have the mindset of those people. So if you sometimes are struggling, you just can't seem to get going, sometimes it's your past that's holding you up. In fact, I'll change that. In most cases, it is your past that's holding you up. It's people in your past. So I want you to start thinking outside of the box and start thinking in the 60s and the 70s, start thinking in the 30s and the 40s, and start thinking like things are going to be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. If you're 50 years old today, you're more likely going to be able to live to 100 because of the healthcare system. If you're 40, 50 years old, you're probably going to live to 100 years old. If you retire or slow down at 60, what are you going to do for the next 40 years? What are you going to do? Can you do physical work anymore? Can your body do the physical stuff that it used to do? No. You'll find out really soon that you can't really do the things you used to could do. But in our business, what do we have to do? Let me tell you what we have to do. One item. We got to talk to people. We got to get out there. Even though we have a home-based business, this is not about being home. I don't ever remember anybody knocking on my door and saying, I want to be a customer. I don't remember nobody knocking on my door and saying, I want to be an IBO. How many of you had, it might have happened to someone, how many of you had someone knock on your door and say, I really want to be an IBO. What can you do to help me? It's not going to happen. And so sometimes we're under the illusion that we get started, we paid our money, and now I'm going to see if I can get me some customers and see if I can get some IBOs. But it really involves getting out there amongst them. And this is what I learned from Steve Smith a long time ago. He said, you got to get out there amongst them. And you got to get into the habit of learning to meet new people. And if it goes against your grain because you're shy introvert, if you're shy, you're going to have to work on getting over that. Okay? You're going to have to work on getting over that. And just learn to say some things that's going to help you. Now, I'm going to tell you, I told you this before, I'm going to say it again. These are some things that helped me. I looked in the mirror and I kept trying to figure out, what could I say to someone that I wanted to show the business to? Somebody, and I finally found out I had to get interested in people. And I am, but for the most part, you have to get interested in people because there are people today that you're talking to that wish they had a business. They're looking for something different. They don't know what to do. And you walk right by them. I mean, Patrick Swaggerty, he said he's on one IBO that he signed up out of happenstance. Over the years, he's made $10 million on that one leg. $10 million. $10 million. Suppose he passed them up. Suppose you were to pass up somebody. That could be somebody at a cash register, somebody that served you some food. It could be somebody on the subway with you, somebody in the cab, somebody in the Uber with you, somebody sitting at the bus station with you. Learn to talk to people. Just listen. And I'm not saying what to say. We got some experts on the call that know what to say. Sam Foster, he's good at this. Learning to meet people, learning to talk to people, and getting good at listening to people. They will talk to you. And if people don't do anything else, they're good at complaining. You'll hear them complain. Oh, this job, I'm tired of this. I can't wait till vacation get here. Oh, got a 1 hour and I'll be out of here to be off from work. You'll hear them complaining, and you just offer something that you've been practicing. Now, what I practice is, wow, you're good at what you do. Compliment, right? My company's looking for people like you. And that's all I say. And generally, they will say something later. Sometimes they say, oh, well, I'm happy here. Oh, no, they'll say something. Or they'll say, what do you do? I said, I work for myself. Our company's looking for people that want to work for themselves. And they'll say, well, here, write my name and number down. Sometimes it's not appropriate for you to ask for their name and number. Let them give you the name and number. And sometimes I'll say something just like this. And I've been practicing this so long, it comes off my tongue. If I sent you a video, would you watch it? It'll tell you how to get started with something completely different, something that can help you financially. And they'll say yes. And then they'll have to figure out how to get the video. They'll write their name and number down. They'll do something. Sometimes at work, they're not supposed to talk to people. Sometimes at work, they're not supposed to give you a name and number, right? And they may say, do you have a card? Do you have something? So maybe you write your name and number on a piece of paper, or give them a card, or just write it down and then ask them to text you, and you'll text them some information back. So you got to figure out how to do that. Okay, remember, no one's going to knock on your door and ask to be an IBO. If you're looking for an IBO to knock on your door and say, Mr. Dix, I want to be an IBO. If you're looking for someone, Miss Lurleen Sailor Jones, or if you're looking for someone, Miss Pion, if you're looking for someone, Miss Catherine Williams, to knock on your door and say, I want to be an IBO. If you're looking for someone, Mr. Dwight or Mr. Buddy or Miss Jackie McCoy, if you're looking for someone to want to come knock on your door and want to be an IBO, you're going to be waiting a long, long time. It's just not going to happen. And you're going to feel like this is not working for you. You're going to think I paid the money and I made some money, but it's not working the way I thought it's going to work. And that's because you're not out there amongst them. Okay, the people that are going to help you to become wealthy, you don't know them. More than likely, they don't have your last name. Miss Jackie Black, they don't have your last name. Okay, they're more than likely they're not an Evans. More than likely they're not a Payne. More than likely they're not a Foster. You're just going to run into trouble waiting for a Clemens to show up, or waiting for a Jones to show up, or McCoy to show up, but waiting for a Waller, Brian Waller. You just don't wait, because more than likely it's not going to happen. So what you're going to have to do is learn how to get out there amongst them. This is a challenge. Mr. Thomas calls it peaking. We peak people. We just want to see where they are, get their temperature. And a lot of times it's just not a good time for them. You'll be shocked. You may give somebody your number. They may give you their number, and they may not answer back. But you did your part. Okay, don't aggravate them. Don't talk. Don't run crazy. I found that they need to see a quick presentation, and then we need to get them to training. Okay. The presentation is not designed to get them started in the business. A presentation is not designed to start them in a business, okay? It's designed to pique their interest, to see if they're interested, okay? And then when they come into the business, the presentation is not designed to get them qualified. The presentation is not designed to get them qualified. You gotta make sure what you're doing now, okay? Presentation to pique them, get them into business, possibly, but it's not designed to what? Get them qualified. It's not designed to get them customers. It's not designed to get them some more reps, some more IBOs. So I'll just use Catherine Williams. There's one Catherine Williams that has her and 2 other people in the business. There's another Catherine Williams that has her and 10,000 people in the business. Which one do you want to be? The one that has 1 in the business, 2 in the business, or the one that has 10,000 people in the business? So the one that has 10,000 people in the business is looking for people and teaching other people to look for people. And we're sorting. We're just simply sorting. If they're interested, they're interested. If they're not interested, they're not interested. This is not a talk them into, trying to get them to do something they don't want to do. It's not. It is more about them seeing something really simple that they can do and then help other people do something really simple. One of the guys that I'm working with real closely is Reggie Lawson, my business partner. I drive a Prius today. I have a little Porsche and I have a Prius. And I got the Prius because the first time I seen a Prius, probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, his brother had one at his house. His brother had one at his house. I was fascinated with that car, electric car, gas, it was quiet, it rolled. I liked everything about the Prius. And years later, I bought one, but you know, Toyota did not send Reggie's brother a check. Toyota did not send Reggie's brother a check for telling me about the Prius. And that's all we do. Where'd you get that tie? Where'd you get those shoes? Where'd you get that hat? We do that all the time. And nobody pays us. In this business that we're in, they will pay us referrals for showing someone else what we do or where we got something from. My phone service is free. Just learn how you're going to pique people. And it's something that's natural for you. What Mr. Thomas does may not be natural for you. What Mr. Provenzano does may not be natural for you. And what I do may not be natural for you. And what I do may not be natural for Mr. Provenzano or Mr. So we have to look in that mirror and practice saying something so that when something happens and there's a prospect, you want to say, I should have said something to Dr. Diedrich. I should have said something to Dr. Diedrich. She sounded like she'd be interested, but I didn't know what to say. So you clammed up and left. You know, I should have said something to Mr. Waller, but I clammed up and left. I should have said something to Mr. Randolph, but I clammed up. I didn't know what to do. So I walked out. I don't know what. So we practice makes perfect. And it has to be something that you can do, that rolls off of your tongue, something that rolls off your tongue. It just happens to me. I just like saying, my company's looking, I work for a company that's looking for people like you. I work with a company that's looking for people like you. And let them say, what is it? You know, the right person on the right day will say, what is it? Now, if they just got a pay increase, a big company car, a credit card, they're flying all over the country and they're happy with their job, they won't pay you no attention. If you say, I got a company that's looking, my company's looking for people like you, it won't phase them none. They'll say, oh, that's nice, and go about their business. If the boss is giving them a hard time, or they need to stay home with their kids more, or whatever they need to change in, they'll say, well, what do you have? I need to find out about that. And they will start asking you some questions. Your mistake is going to be answering too much of it. You just want to pique them. You don't want to give them too much information. Said, if I sent you a video, would you watch it? They say, yes. You send them a video and then get them to a presentation. And remember, if they're in the business, it doesn't tell them to go get qualified to get customers. They have to come to training. That's what training is designed to do, okay? So you get them to a good training class, they see what you got to do, how to approach people, how to help people become customers, because their customers are going to be coming from the warm market, them and other people that they know. And so we're going to teach them that in training. So if you bring them into business and they don't go to training, they're not going to get qualified. They're not going to bring other IBOs in, okay? So that's another component. That's all that I have for today. I'm sorry about my computer glitches. Maybe that's a good thing, but I want to give you a good snapshot of what we do. This is what we do. This is when the rubber hits the road. You're in the business, you got your IBO number, you got your website set up. Now the rubber hit the road. Don't sit there looking at that door and waiting for the doorbell to ring, okay? It's not going to happen, okay?